from KCB, by the way. So a lot at stake in today's games. And remember, Nondies and Quins lost last weekend. Nondies losing their unbeaten record to Mwamba, 13 points to 12. An ill-tempered game. I think there was a red card there, and 1 or 2 players were sent to the bin. Quins, of course, getting off to a very slow start against KCB, and before they realized they were 16 points down, they made a fist of it towards the end. We hope that probably they'll make a very late start against Nondies. So 2 finely balanced games, if you ask me. Yes.
Like you said, the Quins and Nondies game. Nondies suffered their first defeat of the season last weekend. How think they'll be approaching this game today, because they really want to finish on a high before the year ends?
Yeah, of course, it's an interesting game. Both sides lost last week, so whoever settles down very early takes their chances, makes less mistakes, by the way, probably will carry the day. And it's going to be a very interesting game, a very contrasting games of styles, because Nondies, of course, have looked very good, like in the forwards. Quins, of course, have got very, very good backs. So it might be who will settle down early and who will take their chances and who will make less mistakes.
We've noticed that Nondies have proven a lot of people wrong when it comes to facing the bigger sides in the Kenya Cup. The Quins is regarded one of the bigger sides as well. Do you think Quins have it in them also as well to upset Nondies?
Nondies tend to grow an arm and a leg when they play Quins, by the way. The matches between these two sides in the last couple of seasons, 2-3 years, have been very close. We're talking probably around 4 or 5 points. So it very much depends, just like I said, who will settle early, who will take his chances, and who will make less mistakes, by the way. And at the end of the day, they'll carry the day.
We'll come back to the Nondies Quins game very quickly. KCB, it's been proven that they can be beaten here at the Lions.
Yes. When we were last year, this season. They lost to Nondies.
Exactly. So how do Hobeboyz come into this particular game?
Hobeboyz dodged a bullet last week when they played Oilers. They won by 3 points. I mean, one of the very few teams, Hobeboyz, who have won here. I think last season, if I'm not wrong, they beat KCB in their own back end. So they'll have nothing to fear. KCB just seem to be going through the momentum. They're going through the gears. Probably they'll be the favorites to win this game based on the internationals, the experience they have. And I think for them, I think that will be the key for them to carry the game.
And how Hobeboyz have risen through or rather up the table since the first game of the season, losing to Nondies.
Losing to Nondies. Yes, I remember.
How do you think the progression has been for them this season, especially?
The progression has been good. The progression has been good, but remember they also lost to Quins. I think 5 to 15. They will say that most of their guys were playing in Dubai for the 7th team for the invitational tournament. So they'll fancy the chances. They know that KCB have not been playing very, very well this season, and if you take your chances against them, and you can muscle them up front in the forwards, you have a chance. In any case, they've won on this ground before, so it won't be a tall order for them, for Hobeboyz. Yes.
It's Simon against Curtis. How has Simon done this season? If you look at the first rounds, I mean, first 4 rounds.
It's been very mixed for Simon. I think losing to Nondies wasn't a very good start for him. He'll have an excuse that they lost to Quins, but they've won 2, they've lost 2. So very important that
gotten some bonus points as well.
Yeah, gotten some bonus points somewhere, by the way. The season is still young, but you want to get into a rhythm of winning matches week in, week out. You don't want to be losing and then winning, losing and then winning. You become very inconsistent. So for Hobeboyz, because your next game is on January 12th, man. So if you lose today, by the way, you have got 3 weeks to really stew on that defeat and wait until January 12th for you to win. So hopefully you want to sign off the year with a win and enjoy the Christmas season and the New Year before hostilities resume on
and hopefully 12th. We won't be witnessing some wrestling tackles here today.
Yes, from what is one aspect, I mean, Oliver Mangeni and just for Chen. Hopefully some clean game. Most of the players here played today are very mature, not intentional discipline-wise. So definitely we'll expect a good game from the 4 teams involved.
We also the funny side of it, Curtis did mention that it was a moment of madness. The player was sorry about that.
Yeah, he was sorry.
Very quickly before we send it to our commentary box, we'd like to talk about Nondies and Quins predictions. How do you see that one going?
Very close. I tend to think Quins could just carry the day, by the way, but very narrowly, probably by 2-3 points. But please don't put me on the hot spot because I've got most of my predictions very wrong, by the way. So hopefully today I could get it right.
It's what makes Kenya Cup interesting this year.
Yes.
You cannot make a call.
Yes, surprising results, but I tend to think that Quins should carry the day.
All right, 2 live games today. Nondies and Quins will be kicking it off at exactly 2 p.m. And then the game that will be following is defending champions KCB, who will be facing Hobeboyz at 4 p.m. Right now, we send it over to our commentary box. Enjoy some good rugby.
Join me, Mohammed Abubakar, on Football 254 every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. only on Bamba Sport, your home of true fans.
Twenty teams, over 300 rising stars, and tons of stunning goals. Raw, uncut, and true to the game. It's the true spirit of Kenyan football. The National Super League, live on Bamba Sport, free for life.
Magnificent athlete, Radisha wins.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Kenya Cup Match Day 5, coming to you live and free on Bamba Sport from the KCB Sports Club in Ruaraka. 2 matches on the cards. The early kickoff at 2 p.m. between Nondescripts RFC and Kenya Harlequin. This will pave the way for the big one. The 4 p.m. kickoff between Kenya Cup defending champions KCB and Enterprise Cup champions Hobeboyz RFC. My name is Michael Kwambo in the commentary booth, and joining me is William Juguna. William, we do expect this to be a fantastic weekend of rugby, though the pitch doesn't look too attractive, but just hope the rugby is of good quality.
Thank you very much, Mike. Yes, a very good afternoon to all our viewers watching from wherever you are. Yes, it's Match Day 5, the last game of the calendar year before we take the Christmas and New Year break. A lot at stake today. Probably we see the Kenya Cup table changing this afternoon with the matches that are at stake. Coming up first, it's Harlequins against Nondies, the two Ngong Road sides meeting, and there you are, is the Kenya Cup table. Cabra Sugar 4 out of 4 unbeaten. And with a 100% record with 20 points, followed by Impala, KCB 3rd, Nondies 4th, Harlequins 5th, Hobeboyz 6th, Nakuru 7th, Mwamba 8th, Black Blood 9th, Menengai 10th, Mean Machine 11th, and the Strathmore Leos winless and bottom of the table. But this table in the next 3 to 4 hours could all change depending on how the results go in the Kenya Cup. Just remind you of the other games, the 2 unbeaten sides, Cabras and Impala, meeting at 4 p.m. at the Kakamega Showground. And then we do have Black Blood versus Mean Machine. And then we do have
obviously, we do have Mwamba playing against Menengai Oilers at the RFA ground, while at the Kenyatta University it is Black Blood versus Strathmore Leos. In Kakamega, as William has ably mentioned, it is the top of the table clash between Cabras Sugar and Impala Saracens. But the focus will be here at Ruaraka. 2 big games, 3rd versus 5th, when Nondies take on Kenya Harlequin, before later on KCB taking on Hobeboyz in the day's top billing. Just catching a glimpse of the Quins squad getting into their huddle before heading out onto the field of play. I'm sure our director will be able to give us or catch a glimpse of Nondies as well. As you can just see the state of the KCB Sports Club grounds, popularly known as the Lions Den here in Ruaraka, has taken a battering from the rains that have pounded Nairobi over the past few days.
Yes, a lot at stake. These two teams, there is a rivalry between them. I mean, Quins and Nondies. The games have been very close in the last couple of years. I think the winning margin is probably 6-7 points. So very difficult to call. And remember, both sides lost last week. Quins losing to KCB by 22 points to 13 at the RFA grounds, while Nondies unbeaten started the season ended also when they lost to Mwamba at the Jamhuri Park Showground at home by 13 points to 12. Very ill-tempered game, which had, I think, Ben Marshall sent off, and one or two Nondies players also sent to the bin.
Well, actually, the confirmation of the red card from last weekend's game at Nondies, it was the captain, Fidel Olo, who saw red. Benji Marshall saw yellow, and therefore just missed out for 10 minutes of that match. He is available for selection. We will be sharing the team list shortly, but Nondies coming into this fixture minus the captain, Fidel Olo, who is serving a suspension following that red card. Quins, we do expect to see the Onsando siblings or cousins pairing up at second row, while a little bird tells me that Lyle Asiligwa, David Ambunya have been restored to the starting lineup. We will be reading out those lineups shortly.
So the two teams going to the tunnel before they will run onto the pitch.
And lining up for Nondies is Ian Njenga, Frank Mutuku, Eric Shimoli, as you just catch a glimpse of both sides making their way out of the tunnel onto the field. Brian Njenga, Brian Sinei, Brian Amaitsa, Eric Okoma, Steve Odhiambo, Ian Mabwa, Martin Juma, Brian Oyando, Benjamin Marshall, Eric Gitao, Moses Begi, and Ivan Chebo. That is the starting 15 for Nondies. Starting for Quins is Brian Ochieng, Frank Kalole, Paul Kioko, and yes, the Onsando siblings, Michael and Malcolm. Starting at 4 and 5, Hilary Baraza at 6, Patrice Agunda 7, Petro Misango, Aaron Oforioth, Jasper Ochen, Daudi Semwami, Alex Olaba, David Ambunya, Idris Kaikai, and Lyle Asiligwa complete the starting 15 for Kenya Harlequin.
Peter Misango back, didn't play last week's game against Harlequins. He's been one of the best. He's been one of the impressive players for Quins this season. And he gets a crack at the number 8 jersey, starts in the back row. Also, Laila Siligwa starting at fullback. He's a utility black. He can actually play fly half or scrum half, but today he dons the number 15 jersey.
And the replacements for Nondies: Rafael Kathurima, Steven Darunga, Steve Otis, Levi Socheng, Saidi Sumba, Augustine Nangole, Brian Safari. While the Quins replacements: Boniface Ocheng, Melvin Thairu, Eliud Gitonga Koronya, Jarvis Bandi, Wayne Mungei, Dominic Osino, Douglas Kahuri, and Amon Mayenze.
William Reeves, of course, dropped from the entire match day squad. He did play last week against KCB, but not a very good performance by William Reeves in the number 10 jersey. So he gets a chop from today's squad, and he's not even on the substitutes bench. Our center referee, Mwangi Karimi, last I checked, he was a teacher at Alliance High School, played a pivotal role in Alliance winning the Prescott Cup a few seasons ago. So Martin Juma, I beg your pardon, with the kickoff here at the Lions Den in Ruaraka. Two fierce competitors, Quins and Nondies, getting us off underway in match day 5 of the 2018-2019 Kenya Cup season. Aaron Aforioth with a long pass there to find David Semwami. And the Nondies with the turnover already. Ian Mumbwani Mabwa already just showing how he'll be a threat, especially on the fringes. Finds his forwards there, finds Frank Mutuku. Mabwa again gets it now to the man in jersey number 3, Eric Shimoli. Nondies with a decent spell of pressure here already in this opening exchanges. Mumbwani again finding Brian Jenga there, who carries the ball a couple of meters ahead. Mabwa with the pass there that finds Juma. Juma now to Brian Oyando. Oyando tries to shimmy, tries to fool the Quins defense, but the Quins defense reading that play very well. Steve Odhiambo, who's been a talisman for Nondies, carrying the ball a couple of meters. Mabwa finding Mutuku. Tuku carries the ball, couple of meters there. It's all Nondies here in these opening exchanges. Mabo changing direction, finding Juma, and Juma opting to go for territory, but it's well read there by Semwami. And it's going to be a Quins ball here. And Asligwa puts that boot to leather, but it's well read there by Brian Oyando. Not a very intelligent kick there from Asligwa, but it's been won there by the Quins back row. Good turnover there from Quins. Oforioth carries the ball there, delivers it to Jasper Ochen, and Quins getting the ball out of their half there, finds Ivan Chebo, and the referee Mwangi Karimi was already playing advantage there for Harlequins. Nondies were offside, and advantage swinging back to Quins. Just to remind you of the other fixtures we played today, 1 and 2, meeting at the Kakamega Showground. That's Cabras and Impala, as Nakuru host Mean Machine and Black Blood host Strathmore. So a lot to play for. Remember, no one wants to sign off of the New Year, of the Christmas and New Year with a defeat. You have to wait until January 12th when hostilities will resume. So every team here today wants to go with a win for the Christmas and New Year holidays.
Obviously, as we just see the teams line up for that throw-in, this is Frank Kalwale. It is claimed by Michael Onsando. His first cousin, Malcolm, has done well to gather that ball. Is been channeled and now in the possession of Patrice Agunda. As the Quins forwards just begin to look to stabilize play. Aaron Oforioth overseeing matters there. Just looking for some clean ball. This is Malcolm Onsando in possession. Deep in Nondi's territory. Slowly and surely the Quins forwards inching and gaining some ground. Ball is kept alive and presented, but it has been stolen. Wangi Karemi just having a word with the Nondies defenders as he awards Quins a penalty following an infringement. And to the extreme right in our picture there in shirt number 13, David Ambunya, former Kenya international, has been a loyal servant for Kenya Harlequin over the years. He was a part of that Kenya Cup side that rallied from 21-3 down at halftime to defeat KCB 26-21 in a memorable Kenya Cup final in 2010. His midfield partner on that day was Patrice Agunda, now playing in the back row for Quins. This is Frank Kalwale. This looks something choreographed. It is claimed by Hilary Baraza, just setting up another platform for Quins. Kalwale is at the back of that mall. He has the ball as he's just being aided forward. Quins players patiently working their way. They have Nondies on the cosh. And with referee Mwangi Karimi raising his hand there to signal the try. It has been scored by Peter Misango. Talk about a patient build-up and a just reward, William Juguna.
Absolutely. Quins starting off like a house on fire here. And after a substantial amount of possession by Nondies in the opening 1.5, 2 to 3 minutes, it is Quins who get that try on the board. Sustained pressure there by the forwards. And Peter Misango, the skipper, leading by example and scoring the opening try for Quins. Remember, Quins just not clinical last week against KCB, but now finally getting a try on the board here as Laila Asiligwa lines up the conversion. And the conversion kick done there by Laila Siligwa, and Quins with the early lead here. 7-0, the lead for Harlequins. And Nondies now with the restart. Remember, both sides lost last week in the match day 4 action. Nondies losing their unbeaten record, 13 points to 12 to Mwamba, and Quins losing their second game of the season, going down to KCB by 22 points to 13. Again, it's the champions and the holders. KCB are there if you ground, but Quins with a good start as Martin Juma, and that kick does go out, but it did have a bounce on the way out, so it will be a Quins ball. Match day 5 live on Bamba Sport here at the Lions Den in Roraka as Frank Halwale lines up this liner throw for Quins. Halwale, referee Mwangi Karimi just ensuring that there is a gap there. The two Onsando brothers, and it's won there by Quins, by Nondies. Poor throw there coming in from Nondies. Man in jersey, Ian Mabwa, trying to look now for Ian Jenga. Jenga carries the ball a couple of meters ahead. Mabwa gets it now to Mutuku. Mutuku gives it now to Sine, and the referee had seen an infringement there. And just to remind our viewers, the conversion was missed by Laila Siligwa. So the score stands at 5-0. And penalty advantage for Nondies here. What option do they have? Do they go to the corner, or do they go for the kickable points? And it will be a kickable penalty for Martin Juma. Laila Siligwa playing fullback today for Harlequins, was part of the ESS squad for Quins last week against KCB 2, and they lost that game by 14 points to 9. So Martin Juma with the penalty kick here, just to get Nondies on the scoreboard, and the scoreboard pressure ticking. Very key game just before we go for the Christmas and New Year break. And Juma's penalty kick is missed, and sides not proving to be very successful with the kicking tee today, as Siligwa missing the conversion, Juma missing the penalty attempt for Nondies. So it will be a 22-meter dropout for Quins, and it's taken by Aaron Oforioth, and it just goes straight out, and play will come back to the Quins side. Remember, it's a meeting between 4th and 5th in the standings. Nondies 4th, Harlequins 5th, and whoever wins definitely will go above each other or will slip down to each other. So it will be a scramble here to Nondies. Remember, Nondies were victors here 2 weekends ago or 3 weeks ago, ending KCB's unbeaten run of 20 months to win that game 27-22. So they do have history on their side on this ground.
In our picture there is Ian Mabwa with the scrum feed for Nondies. Close season signing from Impala Saracens. Scrum just seemed to collapse there. Mwangi Karimi just looking to ensure that everything is in order. But Nondies, despite that defeat to Mwamba last weekend, enjoying an exceptional run of form. Ian Mabwa arrested there, as is Steve Odhiambo. His progress curtailed by the Quins back row, but this is Mabwa once again. He has men in support, and that was Frank Mutuku receiving that ball in close quarters. Brian Sine just moves a few more meters forward. under the watchful eye of Mwangi Karemi, who also happens to be the chairman of the Kenya Rugby Referee Society, umbrella body for all Kenyan match officials. Mutuku once again. This is Mabwa, as men arriving in numbers. Change of direction as Nondies once again enter the Quins 22. Eric Okoma, latest man to have a feel of that ball and the floor as well. It's a good period of possession for Nondies. Patiently just building up. See Mabwa just marshalling his forwards. The referee calling for the penalty. And what do Nondies do? They've already had an attempt at goal. It was not accurate. Big question is, do they have another stab at the 3 or go for the line out and then look for the try from there?
Yeah, Nondies with good pressure there, and they've opted to take the penalty. They've taken play to the corner, and it will be a line-out ball for Nondies. 13 minutes gone here on match day 5. First of all, double header here at the Lions Den. It's Quins with their lead by 5 points to 0. Quins playing from left to right. Nondies playing from right to left. Nondies in their all-white jersey. Quins in the quartered shirts. Quartered shirts with white and black shorts. And the ball is stolen there by Quins. Was a line-out throw to Nondies, and they've got it wrong there. Missed opportunity for Nondies as Aaron Ofurioth goes for the box kick. Has to deliver off that pressure. It's won there by Brian Oyando. Oyando tries to dummy his way past the Nondies defense. Presents the ball to Ian Mabo. Mabo just trying to look for his forwards here. Finds Eric Shimoli. Shimoli with a good barnstorming run. Mabo again finds here Eric Okoma. Nondies coming back again at Quins here. That's Ian Jenga. Rolling over just to present the ball to Ian Mabwa. Mabwa now gives the ball now to Brian Jenga. Can they get it right in terms of composure and accuracy? It's a decent spell from Nondies, trying to crack this Quins defensive line. And the referee, Mabwa, gives it to Juma. Now Juma gives it to Benji Marshall, the first attacking foreign we've seen of Marshall here. Haven't seen so much of him, but he gets a first crack here. Mabwa now gives it now to Okoma. Can Okoma go over the line here? It's all Nondies. And referees, was that a knock-on? And no, actually the referee was playing advantage. Quins not observing the offside line there. More options to Quins take. They have opted to go for the penalty attempt. Nondies to go for the penalty. Rather get the 3 than get none. And this should be a handy kick for Martin Juma.
Indeed, William, this one is straightforward and in front of the sticks. But it has come after a good period of pressure from Nondies. Martin Juma has been reliable with the boot this season so far for Nondies. As we're heading into a quarter of an hour in the match, Juma is sure with the penalty attempt, cuts the deficit to 2 points. Quins now leading Nondies by 5 points to 3. Still have 25 minutes to play in this first half. Remember, coming up at 4 p.m, Kenya Cup champions KCB up against Enterprise Cup champions Hobeboyz. That should be an exciting clash. And William, one interesting piece of information: Hobeboyz actually eliminated KCB from the Enterprise Cup semis at this very venue with a 1-point win. That game on the day ending by 11 points to 10. Yes,
yeah, Hobeboyz no strangers to victories here. Remember, they also won in the Kenya Cup, I think, even not wrong, in January last year on the same ground. So this ground won't hold any hoodoo over them, as Juma looks for touch with that kick. And he does find touch. It's a good kick from Juma, just clearing the pressure off Nondies. Remember, the score's currently standing at 5 points to 3 here at the Lions Den in Ruaraka. Early kickoff The first game of our match day 5, Nondies against Quins.
And this is Frank Kalwale with the line out throw for Kenya Harlequin. The ball is claimed by Malcolm Onsando and played to Patrice Agunda. That's Oforios with the delivery. Ochen plays it out wide. This is David Ambunya. He has men in support. That was Laila Siligwa just playing it to his outside man, but the defense coming through from Nondies slows down Quins' progress. Oforios once again with that quick pass out. Nondies defending furiously and in numbers, but the penalty advantage, William, it remains with Quins.
Yeah, good play. They're coming in from the Quins' backs. There are good hands coming in from Ambunya and Laila Siligwa trying to put in David Samwami into space, but good scrambling in defense also coming in from Nondies there. We do have a Quins Nondies player being attended on the ground there. Patrice Agunda running into a Nondies defender. It was a good rampaging run there from Patrice Agunda, and it will be advantage to Quins. Brian Amaitsa, the unlucky man who attempted to tackle Patrice Agunda, but he seems to be okay, and it will be play to continue here. Early days yet, 18.5 minutes gone. It's Quins leading by 2. Try scored by Peter Misango and Martin Juma with the penalty for Nondies. So it's going to be a line out throw to Quins here. Frank Aloale will be looking for the Onsando cousins in that line out. Very towering, very tall, very athletic, very powerful players, and it's actually won by Michael Onsando. And it's a good maul coming in from the Quins forwards here. Peter Misango at the tail end. And can they get a second try here? And it's advantage to Quins. Waran Oforios delivers that ball to one of the forwards here to Quins. And Mwangi Karimi just trying to read the riot act to the Nondies backline. They got to be in a very... They were offside. They've got to be onside here either to make any tackles on the Quins players. But it's all Quins as Paul Kyoko tries to get another ball moving. And the ball there is with Patrice Agunda and Malcolm Onsando as Aaron Oforios tries to control that play. And that ball has been lost to Nondies. And an attacking opportunity missed there by Quins, Michael Kwambo.
True indeed, that attacking opportunity lost by Quins. Referee Mwangi Karimi just having a word with the Nondies captain and Steve Odhiambo. Much as the try-scoring opportunity was lost by Quins, they still have the advantage. Nondies penalized, and probably that is the reason why Mwangi Karimi was having a word with the Nondies players. Quins with the penalty, what will they do? Do they elect to go for touch? No, they elect to take the scrum down. They will fancy their forwards in completing the business. Remember, they're just 5 meters short of the Nondies try line. And the first try was scored from close quarters. We saw Peter Misango barge over for that opening try. They will certainly fancy themselves. Aaron Oforios bracing himself for the scrum feed as you just catch a glimpse there of Benjamin Naimba, assistant coach at Kenya Harlequin, former Kenya Sevens coach. Ball is played out wide. This is Laila Siligwa. The inside pass is short, but Nondies defending there in numbers. Still Quins with the attacking momentum. Paul Kyoko, Oforios, Agunda. Saw him barge over the line last weekend against KCB when he received the ball from close quarters. This is Oforios once again. Plays it out to the right. Ambunya. David Ambunya breaks through the first tackle and grounds that ball. It is a second try for Quins. They take the score to 10-3. And Quins pressure paying off.
Good play coming in from the Quins forwards there. Able to suck in the Nondies defense and get a second try. No stopping David Ambunya there from that close position. He was able to ground that ball despite the close attention of Brian Safari there, jersey number 23. And Quins get the second try and give them a lead of 7 with the conversion to come now from Lyle Asiligwa.
No, picture there we just see Paul Kioko played a hand in that try. A crucial carry in the build-up play that eventually saw the ball free and in the hands of David Ambunya. Lyle Asiligwa is all concentration as he looks to extend the lead for Quins. And that kick is accurate, takes the scores to 12-3. 18 minutes remain in the first half. Nondescripts from 3 wins out of 3. Is it early days? Is it too early to say that they're bracing themselves for a second loss on the trot?
Early days yet, Michael Kwambo. 12-3. If they get a converted try, they come within 2 points. Early days yet. It'll very much depend on what they do for the remaining 15 minutes of this first half. Nondies, we've seen a very resilient. We saw what they did against KCB here 3 weeks ago when they ended that unbeaten run. But I think they're also missing Fidel Olo in this team tonight. Today he's a very destructive ball carrier, carries the ball hard, plays very good defense. And the man they call the baboon, surely being missed from what we have seen so far in these opening exchanges. That play there coming in from Lyle Asiligwa. And it was a knock-on from him, and it should be advantage to Nondies, but the referee, Monki Karim, is saying it's advantage to Quins.
Well, you have to give credit to both teams. Given the state of the pitch, you would have expected them to handle the ball a lot more erratically, but they've acquitted themselves pretty well. The unforced error rate has been rather low, testament to the skill level at both sides.
So I don't know, for youth, Quins playing much better than they did last week against KCB. I think we've seen them being very clinical. As of Youth goes for the box kick, but the referee's whistle has gone. And I think he must have been playing advantage to Quins. And it will be advantage, yes, to Quins here. Quins not been clinical last week when they had a lot of chances and possession and territory. But today, the early lead of 12 points to 3. As I don't know, for Youth now looks for territory, and it's a massive kick from Oforioth taking play to the Nondies 22. And Quins slowly growing in confidence, and they'll really fancy their chances here from this line-out throw as we approach the 25-minute mark here on match day 5 at the Lions Den in Ruaraka. Coming up at 4 p.m, it's KCB against Hobeboyz in a repeat of the Enterprise Cup semi-final last season, where Hobeboyz won by 1 point, 11 points to 10. Frank Alwale, line-out throw, expertly won there by Hilary Baraza. Quins just varying their play in the line-out. They know they can go to their Onsando cousins in the middle as Peter Misango has that ball here. Quins looking for try number 3. Remember, they lead by 12 points to 3. Building a very good platform in the fourth department there. Ball now with Malcolm Onsando. Gives it to Aaron Oforioth. They shift it to Peter Misango, the skipper. It's all Quins here. They're carrying the ball very hard. Look at the body positioning of the forwards. Excellent positioning. Paul Kyoko now has it. Malcolm Onsando. And from that kick by Aaron Oforioth, they're knocking on the door of the Quins, of the Nondies defense. And can they get a try? Yes, they do. Try number 3 to Harlequins, and it's Malcolm Onsando. Takes a score now to 17 points to 3. And Nondies now with a lot of work to do here. Good carrying there from Malcolm Onsando, just able to ground the ball over the line. And Nondies with a lot of work to do here if they're to salvage this game. It's 17 points to 3 Michael Kwambo.
Well, as you said, there's a lot of work for Nondies to do, but they just have simply been out of it so far. Quins taking this game by the scruff of its neck. Remember last weekend, they were fairly matched with KCB in the opening 40, but a moment of about 15 minutes in the second half saw KCB just snuff the life out of Quins and run off with a comfortable result. This is Lyle Asiligwa bracing himself for the conversion kick. Former Kenya international has been fielded at scrum half, has turned out as well at fly half. His conversion attempt was unsuccessful. The scores remain 17-3. This is a healthy lead for Quins heading into the last 13 or so minutes of the first half. The action coming to you from the KCB Sports Club in Ruaraka, where later on at 4 p.m. we will bring you the clash between KCB and Hobeboyz. Mwangi Karimi just looking at his watch, making sure the timings are correct. Martin Juma just has a feel of that ball before restarting it. Nondies have thus far been second best at a ground where they claimed a famous scalp 3 weeks ago. The restart is contested. It had been tapped forward by a Nondies player. Arono Forioth boots it downfield as referee Mwangi Karimi says play on. This is a kick downfield from Nondies, only as far as Quins player, that is Laila Siligwa. There's a bit of ping pong at this point in time. Nondies fullback there, unable to field the ball. That was Ivan Chebo, close season signing from Black Blood, where he played alongside Moses Begi and Stephen Odhiambo, who are all in the Nondies starting 15 today. Martin Juma, formerly of USIU and Cabras, big kick downfield, fielded by Ugandan international Arono Forioth. Laila Siligwa. This is Jasper Ochen. Actually, it is Daudi Semwami, another Ugandan import. Quins have a big contingent of Ugandans. I don't know for Forioth, Jasper Onen, Daudi Semwami, and not playing Solomon Okia. This is Malcolm Onsando, the try scorer. Plays the ball out wide, but that pass, the delivery wasn't good. Handling error that hands the advantage back to Nondies.
Well, Quins playing very well. You could just tell the confidence. I mean, that the 3 tries has brought them so far in this game. Really taking the ball very well, hitting the line at pace there from the back line. I mean, Laila Siligwa, David Semwamu, Solomon Okia, all playing. I mean, Alex Olaba, all playing very well in this first half. And Quins really dominant so far, really enjoying themselves as Nondies try to get a grip of this game. As we approach the 30-minute mark, it's Nondies trailing by 17 points to 3, and you just probably feel that they need to get a try here just before halftime. Stephen Odhiambo been very quiet by his high standards. He's been Nondies' best player, but he takes the ball a few meters here. Ian Mabwa has been silenced as Brian Juma goes for the kick. Not the best of kicks, but the referee had called for an advantage there. And it's going to be advantage to Nondies.
Remember, Nondies also missing Ernest Ngong, and starting in the front row for them is Eric Shimoli. Ernest Ngong, remember, he scored the opening try of this season's Kenya Cup. I'll just catch a glimpse there of Martin Juma booting that ball out into touch from the penalty. The Rangers have been rather quiet. This is Frank Mutuku, another former Cabras man. He will probably target Brian Jenga or Brian Sinei in the line-out. Mwangi Karimi is not happy. Awards the free kick to Nondies. Awards the free kick to Kenya Harlequin.
Harlequins had a very good start against Mwamba in the opening game of the season, leading, I think, at one point, 17-0. But Mwamba made a fist of it in the second half, and the Quins narrowly won 29-26. Don't know if Nondies will use that as inspiration because as it stands, Quins look very comfortable, lead by 3 tries to 0, and they lead by 17 points to 3 as we enter into the final 10 minutes of the first half.
Wangi Karimi, remember, apart from being the chairman of the Kenya Rugby Referee Society, also is a rugby coach in his spare time, coaches the Alliance High School rugby team where he is a teacher, English language teacher. So I'm sure his instructions will be loud and clear to the players and to anyone infringing this afternoon. That is Ochen. The pass to Laila Siligwa, who's stopped in his tracks, but he does well to deliver that ball. Malcolm Onsando looks like he's been tackled out into touch. No, the ball is kept alive. This is Ochen. Patrice Agunda takes down one man with him as he gains a few crucial meters for Kenya Harlequin. Oforioth. Malcolm Onsando has been busy down that right flank. This is Daudi Semwami, full of running. Aaron Oforioth. Paul Kioko receives that ball at pace. Goes down on the floor, does well to present it. Bit of a miscommunication there, but Peter Misango does well to claim that ball. Advantage still with Nondies. Aaron Oforioth with the quickly taken penalty, plays it out wide. And is this going to be another try for Quins? Yes, it is. Current scores 22-19. We will confirm the try scorer in a moment, but the try has been scored. It could be the man in shirt number 14, Issa Idris Kakai. Just get another glimpse at that. Yes, it is. Takes the scores to 22-3. Pretty much just summing up the dominance that Quins have put into this match, especially in the past 32 or so minutes.
Yes, Quins do have the bonus point. I mean, that's their 4th try of the afternoon, and they are literally tormenting Nondies here. 22 points to 3 with the conversion kick to come by Laila Siligwa, but Quins do already have the bonus point. Question is, can Nondies really get their hands on the ball? They've literally seen little of the ball in this first half, and maybe Willis Ojal needs to read the riot act at halftime, because they have been second best in terms of possession and territory to their neighbors, Harlequins, and Quins will be the happier side as they go into the halftime interval in the next couple of minutes, as Laila Siligwa's kick is successful. That takes the score now to 24 points to 3, and we still do have close to 55.5 minutes to the end of this encounter, but it's all Quins here. Patrice Agunda has been outstanding. Malcolm Onsando also, jersey number 4, alongside Peter Misango and Paul Kioko, very outstanding for Quins, as they've really interplayed very well between the backs and the forwards in looking for those 4 tries.
Martin Juma braces himself for his 4th restart of the half and the match. The ball claimed in the air there by Michael Onsando. Goes down under the challenge from the Nondies forwards, but the ball has been secured. Laila Siligwa with the kick downfield to relieve the pressure that was building from Nondies. 5 minutes remain in this first half. It is Quins leading by 24 points to 3. The tries coming from Peter Misango, David Ambunya, Malcolm Onsando and Idris Kakai. Nondies 3 points coming off the boot of Martin Juma. That has been the tale of the first half so far. We just catch a glimpse there of Frank Mtuku, the Nondies hooker. That line out is claimed by Nondies as Quins holding the lead. This is a massive line break from Brian Oyando. Nondies have forced themselves into an error there. Paul Kioko forcing the turnover for Quins. Laila Siligwa with the kick downfield. It is difficult for Martin Juma, but he maintains his composure. Remember the soggy ground here at the KCB Sports Club in Ruaraka, not making things any easier for Nondies. Patrice Agunda Change of direction. They're taking on Bransine. This is Daudi Semwami. You just feel that anytime he gets that ball, he wants to run. It's pretty much like a greyhound terrier who has been restricted in a cage and is looking for open space to express his speed.
Very well said. Semwami has looked very good with ball in hand. The Quins backs are literally thriving off the platform that the forwards of Quins are really setting. They're really expressing themselves and trying to look for mismatches out wide. And it's all been Quins in this first half. Much more clinical than we saw last week against KCB. They've already scored 4 tries, and if the score remains this way for the better part of the remaining of the second half, they will have gotten a bonus point, and they will have finished the year with a plumb. And it's probably not looking very good here for Nondies. Yet to see the Nondies, which really tormented KCB on this same ground 3 weeks ago, as Frank Alwale lines up this line-out throw for Quins.
The contest in the air barely just claimed by Nondies, but that shows you Frank Alwale's throw-in was not accurate. Bit of miscommunication between him and his jumpers. Nondies need to get something going. They need to get some crucial points on the board just before the interval, but they're not going to get it with that kind of clearance. Aaron Oforioth does well to field it and plays it to the try scorer, Idris Kakai. Change of direction and the acceleration. Desperate tackle coming through from Brian Amaitsa just curtails the momentum that Kakai was building.
The two Quins wingers, Semwami and Kakai, looking very dangerous every time they get the ball in hand, and they're really tormenting the Nondies defense. That was a last-ditch tackle. Had that tackle not been made, then probably Kakai would have been scoring his second try of the afternoon. As we enter into the final 1.5 minutes of the first half here at the Lions Den in Ruaraka, it's Quins leading by 24 points to 3. Coming up at 4 p.m. it's KCB, the champions, taking on Hobeboyz. And already Quins with a bonus point in the bag unless Nondies can respond in the second half. 4 tries to 0.
Aaron Oforioth with the scrum feed, obviously trusting his forwards as they do well to secure the ball. Peter Misango has been very effective at the base of the scrum. He finds himself in possession, gains a meter or two. Still Quins in possession, surging forward. Malcolm Onsando, he already has 1 try in this game, inching ever so close to the try line. Looked a bit messy on the floor there. Still Quins in possession. They take the ball out wide. Cheeky little chip from Jasper Chen, and this is the 5th try. Alex Olaba, the try scorer, benefiting from that vision from Jasper Chen. He had the option of taking that ball out wide, but look at what he does. Little chip there. Alex Olaba shows his awareness to barge over the chalk. 5th try in this first half, and William, Quins putting Nondies to the sword.
Absolutely. It's been a masterclass from Quins here. They're literally toying around with Nondies, and it's not looking very good for Nondies here. I don't know what they're going to do for the second half. It's pretty much a very grim first half here for Quins here. For Nondies. They trail by 29 points to 3 with the conversion kick to come. And just heads and shoulders dropping there from Nondies. I mean, Quins have really come with a solid game plan. They have dominated territory and possession, and they're really enjoying themselves here. Conversion kick to come, and this could be the last passage of play in the first half by the referee Mwangi Karimi, as Lail Asiligwa lines up the conversion.
Sails wide, and the scores remain 29-3. Nondies still in a bit of a conference after conceding their 5th try in this first half. It is halftime here at the KCB Sports Club in Ruaraka. Quins with tries left, right and center from Peter Misango, Malcolm Onsando, Idris Kakai, Alex Olaba. Well, they've scored 5 tries. Martin Juma with the solitary penalty for Nondies. That is a confirmation of the halftime score. Kenya Harlequin 29, Nondescript 3. We still do have the second half to come. As we just catch a glimpse of the action from the first half, that was Michael Onsando taking that ball into the maul. And at the end of it was Peter Misango to barge over for Quins' opening try. And this was that moment when Martin Juma brought Nondies to within 2 points before the ball was played out wide. David Ambunya riding the tackle there. His touchdown and the ensuing conversion took the scores to 12-3. And then we had this moment. Malcolm Onsando receiving that ball from the back of the maul to go over and score a third try for Quins. And the conference has begun within the Nondies setup, William Juguna.
Yes, a lot of recrimination. David Semwami there, really gifted runner there, standing tall. And then Aaron Ofurioth with a cutout pass there to Idris Kaikai. And Kaikai just barging his way past Ivan Chebo to land at the corner. Before this final try, I mean, not final try, but you can see Kaikai once again putting the hammer down. And Eric Okoma there, the last ditch tackle before this grabber kick by Jasper Ochen was well read by Alex Olaba to go over the line. Try number 5 for Harlequins as they lead by 29 points to 3 at halftime. See you for second half commentary in a few minutes.
Missed out on some weekend footballing action? Perhaps that last-minute winner?
Aguero!
That controversial moment?
This is the Champions League headline being written.
Or even some off-field drama?
Respect.
With the help of expert analysts and of course you the fans will be covering all matters football.
Character within these players is magnificent.
Also during the World Cup, Al Hazard was at the top of his game. Tune in to Monday Night Football with me, your host Mohamed Abubakar from 8:30 p.m. on Bamba Sport, your home of true fans.